been an admirer of Mahatma Gandhi, not because I share my birthday with him, 2nd October, also because of many factors. One of the factors being my wife's family, my wife Kala, has been a great devotee of Mahatma Gandhi. I had an angel as my wife for 39 years. So when she left the body, one great person wrote to me about the family. I will read just from one paragraph of that. Srimati D R Kaarthikeyan was born into a nationalist family. Even Mahatma Gandhi stayed in the house of her grandfather, Sri K.S. Ramasamy Goundar, in Tirupur. He was a devoted Gandhian freedom fighter and also an MLA during 1937. This great man built schools and hospitals for the benefit of the society. Sri Ramasamy Goundar assisted Sri Ayyamuthu, Secretary, Tamil Nadu State Khadi Board, to set up the Khadi Center near Tirupur, which is today a thriving textile center of the entire world. Entrusting the business to his son, he had moved to a farmhouse to lead a life of simplicity. I have had the privilege of visiting him between 1940 and 1941. It was not only Kala's grandfather, but also her mother, Srimati Muthulakshmi, who was a nationalist, and she gave away all her jewels for freedom movement after a call by Gandhiji. So, etc., etc. So, our special relations with Mahatma Gandhi and his movement. The light is gone and yet it will shine for 1,000 years. These words were uttered by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru immediately after the sudden demise of Mahatma Gandhi. The words which Jawaharlal Nehru uttered almost immediately after Gandhi's sudden exit from this world are found prophetic. Dr. Martin Luther King said, I quote, Gandhi was inevitable. If humanity is to progress, Gandhi is inescapable. He lived, thought, and acted, inspired by the vision of a humanity evolving towards a world of peace and harmony. We may ignore him only at our own risk. Gandhi is intensely relevant to our times. That Gandhi is relevant today and for centuries to come has never been in doubt at all. But in view of certain strange utterances by a few ill-informed persons recently, the subject becomes relevant. The study of Gandhi is not merely the study of his life, work and ideas. It is also the daily evolving application of those ideas to new challenges and situations. Gandhi's approach to himself and to life in general was that of a seeker of truth and of a votary of non-violence or love. He perceived that love, spelt as non-violence in thought, word and deed, was the shortest cut to human progress and evolution, both individual and social. In his eyes, progressive non-violence could express itself best through service, self-suffering, and if necessary, total sacrifice. His mind was always open, fresh, and receptive to truth as he went on finding it from day-to-day experience. For him, while his own consciousness was the laboratory for searching out the inner core of truth, human society was the field for social experiments which could lead to harmony and happiness. I am going to take a longer time for introduction, hoping the latecomers should not miss the main speakers. So whatever corner of the world he worked for the time being, the whole of humanity and its good were always his concern. He lived day in, day out, open to public view as on a stage. He took the people and even his opponents into confidence, not only in regard to his actions, but even his motivations. The result is that none in history has left behind so much of documentation and direct evidence concerning everything he thought and did. Gandhi was not merely a moralist, but one who believed that man has a great future and that he is evolving towards a higher and nobler destiny. You can come forward. Please come. What makes a study of his life most helpful is the unceasing attempt he makes to conquer his own weaknesses and establish the superiority of moral and spiritual endeavor. That self-control is the key to the higher and happier life was his constant refrain. From erring, faltering, stumbling, and struggling youth, Gandhi rose to the eminence of being called a moral genius by no less a person than the celebrated British philosopher C.M. Joad. His outer life and actions were but the reflection of his inner struggle to hold fast to truth, to truthful living, and to achieve good ends only through good, virtuous, non-violent means. The inner and outer world were but the obverse and reverse of the same coin, namely our existence, our being. If the evil inside was to be fought and conquered, it was equally necessary for man to fight all evil outside, with as much determination and bravery. He was inspired by the passion for relieving every kind of suffering and for wiping out the last tear from the eyes of the lost man. That is why his most favorite song and refrain was, "He alone is a true devotee of God who understands the pain and suffering of others." The other equally important and powerful urge in his life was to return good for evil. Thus, this triple passion to search in a scientific spirit for the law of the individual and social well-being and progress, to establish the truth of that law through love and non-violence, and always return good for evil, dominated his life from the beginning to the end. His life, thought, and action are extremely relevant and useful for every human being who is self-conscious and who aspires for a higher, nobler, and more exalted life than we may be living today. While it is the duty and responsibility of society to plan for the fullest possible development of the best in every individual, it is equally necessary that the individual render back into society what he in fact owes to the society. Thus, there has to be a balancing of rights and obligations between the individuals and the society which they compose. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and a system is good and efficient only to the extent of the goodness and efficiency of the individuals working it. Gandhi applied these principles to all human organizations and systems, economic, political, and social. His objective is the moral and spiritual development of man. Man is primarily his consciousness, his capacity to be self-conscious, and his built-in potentiality. Every human being is a trustee not only of his faculties and attainments, but of everything he comes by. He was as heroic in fighting the evil and injustice in the world outside as in conquering the evil and weakness in his own mind. Thus, in a world where science and technology have put into the hand of those in possession of wealth, power, and authority weapons of coercion and destruction beyond ordinary conception, Gandhi's weapon of satyagraha, well-being of all, is a boon. It can be used even by a single individual who has developed sufficient moral power by his own purity of thought and conduct. He has proved it by his own life. The relevance of satyagraha, both as a way of life and as a weapon for evolutionary social change, need not now be in doubt when it was very successfully used by the Negroes in USA under the able guidance of Dr. Martin Luther King. Though its use in an international conflict has yet to be tried, one can hazard the statement that non-alignment, moral pressure by non-aligned powers, and economic and other sanctions which the United Nations organization often thinks of are along the line of non-violent resistance to evil and injustice. It may be said that Aldous Huxley, in his famous book Ends and Means, has made a very good case for non-violent resistance by all those who suffer at the hands of modern governments, which are armed to the teeth with the modern instruments of coercion, suppression, and destruction. He says that it is the only remedy, and a very civilized moral remedy at that. Another aspect of Gandhi's teachings, which can be taken note of here, is his insistence on the resolution of all conflicts by peaceful means. He declared that war and violence never solve any problems. They create new ones and sow the seeds of future wars and the continuance of hatred. The appearance of nuclear weapons, the use of which involves total destruction of entire humanity, has made Gandhi's peace plea doubly forceful and important if the future of humanity and its peaceful, orderly progress is our concern. The only way is to cease to war against each other and instead use all our resources to war against the common enemies of man, namely ignorance, poverty, disease, and so on. We must devise means and provide ways to resolve conflicts through negotiation, mediation, arbitration, and tribunals. In fact, by every other means, that the use of weapons, which necessarily involves the destruction of life and property of the entire planet. It is clear that Gandhi's life, thought, teaching, and action are ever relevant for all aspirants of the ethical and spiritual life. His principles and techniques of satyagraha are highly efficacious instruments and much more relevant today for peaceful economic, social, and political change whenever and wherever it's required. His gospel of peaceful means for resolving all conflicts is the only way to escape the disaster of a nuclear war. In its totality, Gandhi's teaching is a highly inspiring one and serves as a signpost to humanity marching towards a better, happier, and more harmonious life. Gandhi was the discoverer of a new dimension in nonviolence, and he opened a new chapter in history. What astonished the world, however, was that when the British left, India became independent, there was no rancor left in the minds of Gandhi, either India or England. It looked as though the last act was more one of great reconciliation than a parting. The Republic of India voluntarily chose to remain in the Commonwealth. Is it any wonder then that the great historian and thinker Arnold Toynbee recorded later that Gandhi had liberated not only India but also Great Britain? Civilization is in the grip of competition and violence. So also our society, as we see everywhere. The image and challenge of Gandhi appear small on the world platform, but that image and that challenge will steadily advance into the 21st century and on to centuries yet to come. India owes a special duty to mankind because it was in India that Gandhi was born, lived and worked and gave his life for non-violence. Will the people in the government of India take a deep breath and recapture for themselves and for the world the true image of Gandhi, at least in the next few years' time? There cannot be the slightest doubt as to what Gandhi wanted India and the world to do for the future of man. Please come forward. But have we the courage and the integrity to live up to Mahatma Gandhi's challenge? This is one of the biggest question marks before the world today. To conclude, Gandhi was a many-sided personality. The outward simplicity of his life and his single-minded devotion to non-violence cloaked innumerable deep currents of ideas, disciplines, loyalties, and aspirations. He was at once a saint and an evolutionary, politician and social reformer, economist and man of religion, educationist and satyagrahi, devotee alike of faith and reason, Hindu and interreligious, nationalist and internationalist, man of action and dream of dreams, rightly celebrated as the man of the century. I would like to let you know that we have two eminent personalities to speak on the subject. I couldn't think of better persons now. A brief introduction about them. First, the keynote address being delivered by Professor Ramesh Bijlani, Chairman of the Sri Aurobindo Education Society. He is a medical doctor, writer, teacher, scientist, and above all, a person committed to using his unique blend of talents for touching the hearts and lives of his fellow beings. Educated at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, where he did his MBBS and MD, and at MIT USA, where he did a master's course in nutrition. Dr. Bijlani spent nearly 30 years on the faculty of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, teaching and conducting research on nutrition in relation to cardiovascular diseases and diabetes. In 1992, he started going into the depths of yoga, especially the integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. His personal and professional life converged in the year 2000 when he initiated at AIIMS a patient care facility for proving lifestyle modification courses based on yoga in tune with the latest advances in mind-body medicine. In the year 2005, he took voluntary retirement from AIIMS to find more time for putting his blessings as a communicator to better use. He was conferred honorary degree doctorate in yoga by Swami Vivekananda Yoga University in Bangalore in 2006. Besides his research publications, he has written extensively for children, medical students, and lay people like us. He has 17 published books to his credit. During the last 3 years, he has posted more than 200 blogs on spiritual topics on the Speaking Tree website. He now stays and works at Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi branch, where he of course continues to write, deliver talks, and conduct spiritual retreats, mind-body workshops, yoga programs, and courses. So on behalf of all of us, I have great pleasure in welcoming the true Gandhian amongst us today, and welcome him with a bunch of flowers. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. Thank you for the trouble you have taken to come. And a small memento. May I now have the pleasure of introducing Professor Dr. Suman Kanagavel, an Associate Professor of Philosophy, Delhi University till recently. She obtained her doctoral degree on Gandhian thought in 1978, has since translated her theoretical knowledge into practical action by founding the Gandhian NGO Shanti Sayog that works in the urban slums of Delhi in the areas of education, health, and women empowerment. She has also extended her understanding of Gandhi's ideology to her work as a peace researcher and activist. To promote Gandhi's legacy of nonviolent conflict resolution and vision of a world without war, she has set up Shanti Sayog Center for Peace and Conflict Resolution. Dr. Agarwal has 3 postdoctoral research projects to her credit, undertaken in India, Sweden, and Canada. She has also authored books and published several articles in reputed journals on Gandhian principles. As a Gandhian scholar, she has lectured extensively and taught courses on Gandhi in several universities around the world, including in USA, Canada, UK, Japan, Israel, Palestine, etc. A plenary speaker at international conferences, she strongly believes that individual social responsibility, dictated by one's own conscience, has the power to bring out social and political transformation. She is a recipient of International Women Excellence Award and many more awards for her community service of the underprivileged and her promotion of non-violent conflict resolution. So on behalf of all of us, I have great pleasure in offering her a bouquet of flowers and also a memento on her behalf. Thank you, ma'am, for coming. And now the program for the evening is like this. Dr. Bijlani will give the keynote address, followed by the speech by Dr. Suman Kanagavel, and thereafter interaction with the audience. Thank you, sir. Professor Bijlani, please.